Good morning. This morning I want to talk a little bit about how meditation helps and leads to and facilitates a process of mindfulness, and how the two go hand in hand beautifully to create greater self-awareness. So basically, if we think of meditation as taking time out from the world of the senses, we close our eyes, we go inward into an inner world. And in actual fact, even though we're retreating from the outer world, we're developing our capacity to function in the outer world by going inward, because we're connecting to aspects of us that are more self-aware, that we find our strength, our clarity, and where our peace, our inner truth, and we're able to bring that into the outer world. So how does meditation and mindfulness sort of work together? And how does a practice of meditation develop quite naturally a practice of mindfulness in your everyday life? So when you go into meditation, you are bringing your mind to a focus on your breath, on a mantra, on a seed thought, on an image, whatever the focus is. And by doing that, that focus will take you into a place where you go deep inside and you're able in your mind to detach or step back from your thoughts. So in meditation, we develop the capacity to observe our thoughts. And you'll just see them like come into your mind, pass through and pass on by. And when we are actually thinking our thoughts or engaged in our thoughts, it's like we hold a thought in our mind. So instead of just it passing through our mind, we engage with it, we give it attention. So in meditation, we're trying just to focus. We keep our focus gently on the breath, on the mantra, and this disengages or detaches, steps back from those thoughts. And then we become what we call the silent observer or the silent watcher, and we're able to simply watch those thoughts. And that capacity to simply be, to simply watch the thoughts, is really the key to mindfulness. Because when you are just watching the thoughts, you could ask, well, who is watching the thoughts? And really the who that is watching the thoughts is the truth of who you are. You could think of it as your higher self, as your soul, as your consciousness, as your self-awareness, whatever words you want to use. It's the essence of your pure intelligence. It's also an intelligence or a beingness, an awareness that's connected to far more than just your thoughts. So that aspect of you is universally connected. So if you were thinking of it as your consciousness, it is connected to universal consciousness. And so in meditation, that continual practice of every time your mind gets caught up in thoughts and engaging with thoughts, as soon as you realize, you bring it back to the focus, which might be your breath or a mantra. And in doing so, you train your mind to keep coming back to that silent witness, that observer. And over a period of time, with regular practice of meditation, this gets easier. So your mind will always, in meditation, be distracted. You know, quite often your ego will come up with the thoughts that really grab you, the ones that really hook you in. But what will happen with practice is you'll recognize that process. You'll see yourself go off and think a train of thought, be caught up in it. And as soon as you realize, you pull back to the breath, to the mantra, to your focus. And that act of pulling back is the act of disciplining your mind. And really what you're doing in your mind is you're pulling back into the silent observer. You're becoming the witness again. Now, the witness sees things from a much higher perspective. So if you like, the witness sees the thoughts in your mind from the wisdom of your soul or your higher self, or you could almost say your God self, your divine self, your universal self. So that witness has infinite intelligence and understanding and insight as a capacity. And so the more that you meditate, the more you are comfortable in that position as the observer, as the witness, the more you open up to expansion in your awareness and the insights that come in through your intuition. And also the easier it becomes to simply be. Because when we're the witness, we're not doing. Doing is caught up in thinking the thoughts. And we think this is what we have to do. No, being is simply observing the thoughts. So what happens with a regular practice of meditation is we naturally develop taking this position of simply observing. And really, this is being present to the thoughts in your mind. This is being mindful. This is being in the here and now and just observing what's going through your mind without any judgment, without any analysis or creating a story about it or criticism or any of the things that pull our ego, pull us into engaging with those thoughts. No, we're just happy. We're just allowing the thoughts to be. We're accepting them and we are just resting. I call it resting, or you could think of we're just in vibration and being our soul. Observing what's going on in our mind. And we will observe patterns. We'll see thoughts that have been there forever, thoughts that are not even ours, thoughts that really don't serve us very well. Some really good thoughts. They'll be like, whoa, that's I want to hold on to that one. But those, no, I don't want to hold on to those. They are no longer where I'm at. They don't serve me. And so we become wise as the observer. And we also develop the confidence to look at what's going on in our mind, because many people fear what's going on in their mind because they feel like they are their thoughts and their thoughts rule them, and they don't always like the control those thoughts have and where they take them. So if we allow ourselves to become engaged with those thoughts, and especially if they're fearful thoughts and they're doubting and they're anxiety and worrying, some of the darker thoughts that we all have, if we engage with them, they can take us to places that we don't want to go. And so we do. Quite often people are quite fearful to go into meditation and into their mind because they're scared what they might find there. There's also a confidence issue. Many people believe they can't meditate because their mind's just too busy. They're too controlled and too engaged with what the Buddhists call the monkey mind, with that chatter that's going on all the time. And they just, they have enough trouble dealing with the chatter, let alone learning how to deal, how to step back from it and how to take back control of their mind. So the chatter doesn't rule. You quieten the chatter by just ignoring it. And so when we practice meditation, and this continually in your practice, coming back to the focus, just gently resting your mind on the breath, resting your mind on the mantra, and that every time you come back, you develop the strength of being centered in this silent witness and this silent observer in your truth. And what happens quite naturally is in life, when you're not meditating, you start to find that your mind rests in the silent observer. And this is really what mindfulness is. It's like meditation and practice throughout your day. You are just witnessing life. You're in the here and now. You're not caught up in your thoughts, because many of those thoughts come from your unconscious mind. They come from patterns of thinking that have been laid down over your life experiences, laid down through your childhood especially. And many of them do serve you well, and many of them really don't. They're self-sabotaging. They're not positive thoughts, and they are patterns that don't always serve you well. And if you have habits you don't like, you'll find the root of those habits in those unconscious programs and thoughts. If you have addictions, you'll find them in those unconscious patterns and thoughts. So when we're just being and observing, we are seeing the world as the silent witness, as the silent observer, as a soul. And the beauty of when we see the world as a soul is we are seeing the world with that expansive awareness. So we wind up taking in a whole lot more information. And that can be information of a sensory nature, like the colors are brighter. We observe and notice things that have changed because we're connected. If you go out in nature, it becomes a magical experience because you're so tuned in with everything. You're noticing a little sound of a little bird doing something, and you notice something else doing something, and you start to feel and tune into energies that you may never have tuned into before. You start to get an awareness beyond your five senses. And that's the other thing with the practice of meditation. When you start operating from this more mindful, more expansive self-awareness in your everyday life, you have access to insights, understandings, awareness beyond your individual mind. So beyond your analytical, logical, critical thinking, usual thought mind. And you start to just have more intuition. You'll just start to have an awareness of how someone really is, even though their words might seem different. You start picking up on energies. You start picking up on interplay between people. You just heighten the information. It's not just body language. You almost tune into people's energies. You may even tune into their mind. There becomes almost a telepathic resonance with people. And in the future, this will be what we will develop as a race. We will become telepathic. We will be able to sense and understand what is going on in other people's minds. And so really life at this point becomes infinitely magical, because it's like going from black and white to color. There's so much more going on and so much more to life that you could never need to look for any distraction in life. You won't need, the TV or to engage with stuff on your phone, because suddenly life opens up and there's so much more to life. And it also makes things easier because you understand on a much more expansive level, on a higher level, what's going on. So, for example, in relationships, if there's a conflict, the observer is able to observe that the person who's perhaps attacking me or who's defensive in response to something I've said or done, you just start to see what's going on for them, and that actually it's not really anything to do with you. It's something that's going on for them that they're struggling with, or it's where they're at, or they're tired, or they've had a stressful day. And so you're much less reactive because you have that awareness. You also have the capacity, because you have developed the capacity to accept those thoughts that just run through your mind. and not judge or criticize them, you just observe them, you can do the same for other people. You don't judge or criticize them, you just accept them as if you're just observing life as a play or a drama. And I think I've used the analogy before. It's like you have a choice. If life is a drama and it's like a play on a stage in front of you that you see through your eyes and you hear and you taste and touch, you can be up on stage in the drama, caught up in all that's going on, and it's very hard to have any insights into what's going on. And when you're up on that stage, you're largely ruled by the thoughts in your mind that are coming from your unconscious, less aware self, your unconscious mind. So you're really caught up in the drama. If you could be in the position of being in the audience of your life, so you're watching the drama, all of a sudden you understand a whole lot more. You can be like when you watch a film and you get very emotionally involved and attuned and you're really experiencing the film. You can still experience all the magic, but you're not in it. You're watching it. And so your life can be like a drama playing out. And in this way, you know, your relations with people, you can still have the same depth of relationship with people. But you have this capacity to just be. You can be and accept them because you're witnessing. You're not caught up in it. And when you can be, simply be around people, be yourself, be the witness, you enable them to be. And there's no greater gift that you give another person than to accept them as they are, love them as they are, and allow them to be. And what you do in that moment, regardless of how aware they are or not, how spiritual or conscious or anything or not, you lift their consciousness, you expand their consciousness, because they will resonate with your heart and with your, if you can hold a space to allow someone to be who they are, that is unconditional love. And they will feel that and they will respond positively to that. And without doing anything else, you're lifting them up into the highest expression of who they can be in that moment. And that's why sometimes just being that observer to someone who's in a bad way, or someone who's attacking you or is defensive or something that's difficult, sometimes it just dissolves the situation, because you allow them to be angry if they're angry. And you allow them to feel as they do and to express those feelings. And you become a safe option for them to just be as they are. And that is the here and now. That is life. That is life at its very root and its very core. And so all of this change that happens in your everyday life, this capacity to be mindful, to be present here and now, comes from simply practicing meditation every day. And it can be 10 minutes, it can be 20 minutes. It's the regularity of it. And it's the practice of coming back to the seed thought, coming back to the mantra, coming back to the breath, that makes the changes that really give you a life in which you thrive, rather than one in which you're just trying to survive. It enables you to live the life you love and love the life you live. So that's a long explanation, but hopefully that helps you to see how this practice of meditation every day is changing who you are, and also changing your relations with the people around you, and changing your relationship with life, because you're starting to see the truth. Because the silent witness, the observer, sees the truth much more easily. The thought-controlled mind sees what you've seen in the past. And therefore that's what you will experience, because that's the unconscious mind. That's all the things that you've experienced in the past controlling how you see and experience your reality in the moment. And so really, if you want to see the world as it is, and it is a beautiful, magical place, it's a place of love, not a place of fear. Fear resides only in our mind. Love resides everywhere. So it's a case of when you come in, when you're mindful, you tune into love as the essence of who you are as a soul, as love. And love connects with love. And that's a wonderful feeling of being alive. That's when the life force energy really flows. So I'm going to leave the explanation there. And hopefully that motivates you to, if your daily practice of meditation sort of is a bit haphazard or it wanes a bit, even if you can't sit for very long, it doesn't really, in terms of meditation, time and space don't really exist and they don't really matter. It's the quality and the regularity of meditation. And it's also remembering that it's really important that the critical judgment part of your mind is put to rest in meditation, so that there's no place for criticism or judgment. There's only a place for loving kindness. So every time your mind wanders off, even if in a 10-minute meditation, 9 minutes, your mind is off doing your shopping list and your plan for the day and that's fine. So long as for a minute it's coming back. And that's the key. And we come back and we come back and we come back with an attitude of loving kindness, because that will open the heart and that will give you access. It makes it much easier to connect with your soul, with the silent witness, to detach when the heart is open. So on that note, get yourself comfortable. So ideally for meditation, you want to be sitting reasonably upright. You can be supported by a chair, but you want your back upright so that your chakras are aligned and your energy is in a vertical alignment with the earth. Okay, it's to do with sort of the energies of spiritual energies coming through that vertical alignment. It's better if you don't have your feet crossed, and if you can have your feet on the floor. So flat on the floor, even if you need them on a cushion so that you're comfortable. You want to just roll your shoulders a bit, just loosen up any tension in your neck, maybe breathe in, breathing out, and just getting yourself comfortable. And then we just have your hands resting gently in your lap. And then just gently close your eyes. And we're going to begin by connecting with the earth. And whenever we connect to the earth, this brings us into the moment. It connects us with the here and now, because nature operates mindfully. So I want you to imagine that you're sending energy from the ball of your foot, the center of your foot, down into the earth. Right down deep into the core or the heart of our planet Earth, because she is a living being. So connect with her heart. And as you do this, you can think of your breath becoming aligned with her breath. Your heartbeat aligned with her heartbeat. And you come into a beautiful resonance. This grounds your energy. And now we're just going to come into the present moment. And whenever we connect, truly connect with any of our senses, it brings us into the moment. So I want you to connect with the sense of touch and be aware of your body sitting on the chair. Now be aware of the feeling of the clothes on your skin. And any sense of the air temperature or the airflow where you are on your skin. Now I want you to tune into your your sense of hearing. Now just let sounds come into you. And when your mind starts talking about the sounds, just go back to simply listening to the sounds. Listen from your heart. Now I'm going to invite you to take that awareness and just let it rest very gently on your breath. So it's really lightly, like a butterfly resting on a flower. Very gentle, light resting of your mind on the breath. So it's not forced at all. Be aware of the breath coming into your body and the breath leaving. And then let each in-breath get a little deeper. As you feel your body relaxing, feel like you're opening a channel down through the very center of your body, especially between the sternum, your breastbone, and the spine. Until it feels comfortable to breathe from your belly. So you take the breath all the way down through that channel, fill your tummy with air. Then as you breathe out, you feel your tummy come back towards your spine. And if you want to rest your hands on your diaphragm, that can help. Gently breathe into your hands. As you breathe out, your hands come back towards your spine. But very natural rhythm. Slow and deep. And you will notice your body beginning to relax. The thoughts start to slow down and there is space between them. Now I want you to keep that gentle focus on your breath. And just allow it to start to take you deeper. And it will take you into a place where you feel very peaceful and calm. Now there are still thoughts in your mind, but it's as if they're just coming into your mind and passing through, like a river flowing past. And you are focused on the breath. If your mind gets distracted by thoughts, by physical feelings or sounds, as soon as you become aware you've become distracted, just gently and with loving kindness, bring your awareness back to the breath. And just keep doing that. Allowing yourself to go deeper into that peace. And from that peace, you simply are aware of thoughts passing through your mind. Your mind wanders, just bring your focus back to the breath very gently. If you find yourself drifting off to sleep, just lift your chin and lift the center of your chest. Return to a gentle focus on your breath. And now very gently relinquish the focus on the breath. Still keeping your eyes closed, just start to come back into an awareness of your body sitting on the chair. Stretching and moving as you need to. But what I want to do is I want to open our eyes mindfully. So in that first few seconds when you open your eyes, I just want you to completely tune into what you see before you, what you hear and what you feel. So when you're ready, just opening your eyes. And when you come out of meditation in this way, for those first few moments, you are mindful. You see the world as a soul. And you often notice that colors are brighter in the air, the light has a different quality. Your sense of hearing is very acute. And there's a sense of awe and wonderment at the world, as if you're seeing it like a child for the first time. And this is the joy that comes with being mindful, because in those first few moments, that's when you see it as a soul with total awareness. The thoughts haven't come back into your mind. You're not taking any notice of the thoughts in that moment. And so it's a very good practice when you come out of your meditation just to do that, because it reminds you just how good it feels to be mindful. So I trust that today's meditation gave you a greater understanding of how meditation develops and really supports a practice of mindfulness in your everyday life. Namaste.